Welcome! Today's session is going to focus in on grasping the bird's tail, but in a new way. We've been focusing a lot on our forms practice, but today we're going to get into our still practice and our single movement practice. These are actually a big part of our Tai Chi practice, so let's get started. So our body shape plays a big role in our practice, right? This starts from our footwork. How do we change our body shape? Still practice, right? So still practice allows us the chance to hone in our body shape. When we are moving, a lot of the times we'll give ourselves breaks. What does that mean? We kind of cheat. Right? Because we're flowing from one pose to another. So there'll be things that aren't quite right, myself included, right? So it starts with holding. So we're going to hold each movement for grasping the bird's tail. And we're also going to do single movement practice, and we're going to do the flow of grasping the bird's tail. Because once we hold, our body becomes more aware of what's going on, okay? So I'm going to mirror you. So we're going to shift right, and we're going to open up our left toes. And we're going to sink. And as you sink, I want you to be aware right now, knees in line, right? It's not turning in. We're only sinking down to where we're comfortable. And then when you step out, you don't reach. You just touch with your foot, and then you move forward. So what is it in Tai Chi that helps build our leg strength? It's this, what we call crotch rounded enough or qua open. So it starts with having our feet shoulders width apart. If we're on one line, we're going to be super wobbly. We want to get balance. We want to build strength. So our hips have space in them, right? Like if we stand, we have two lines, we're not going to be on one line balancing. We want to keep our two lines first and foremost. Now, as we do our bow stance, we want to be able to shift back and forth and keep our knees in line. Where does this come from? Again, our hips. If our hips can't open, we can't keep our knees in line. So we're going to start by holding each end position. And we're going to do a couple of single movement practices in between. So we're going to start with ward off right. So start with your footwork. Are both of your knees in line with your toe direction? So that means that the hips are open, right? So if you bent your back leg, it would still follow. Even though it's straight, remember it's not locked out. Hips are going to be open. As your hips are here, drop your tailbone just a little bit, not so much that you're like over rounding, but we don't want to be kicked out. We want to try and just find a level position with our hips. So we're not going up, we're not going back, okay? From here, our torso is going to remain open. So right now, can you feel the weight sink into your legs? The goal is there's nothing going on in the upper body, okay? We want to feel light and airy right now. We want to see if we can feel heavy through the legs. So it's like if you were on a boat. Can you sink into your legs? Can you feel that weight go down? Now your breath is going to tell you a lot. Are you breathing down to your belly? Put your hands on your belly before we go into our pose, or maybe one on the chest, one on the belly. Close the eyes even if you can. Take a few breaths. Which hand is moving if you have one on your chest and one on your belly? Can you soften through your belly so that that hand has to move? It gets pushed away from your spine, and then the navel draws in as you exhale. This is important. In our Tai Chi practice, we should have a big breath. We should help that energy sink to our dantian, to our belly, through our breath work. If our breath becomes shortened, it actually is telling us that we need to adjust something in our body to help with this alignment of our energy and our breath. Release the arms. We're going to bring them into ward off right. So just as your arms were relaxed when you were holding them on your body, we should use just enough to bring the arms up and to ward off right. So elbow and knee should be in line. If your torso turns to straight, your arms are going to be off to the side. So if I turn, we should have this arm should be pointing out to the side direction so that we show the meaning is controlling our opponent's arm in front of us. Okay, so right now, are your armpits open? Right, so if I drop this arm, we're not here. We have that piece of fruit tucked under. And is your elbow lower than your wrist? So remember, shoulders and elbows sink down. When we come up, energy comes up. We're going to hold. We're going to take a few breaths here. So I want you to focus in. Do you have that nice quad area rounded? Is your waist relaxed? Shoulders and elbows sinking down as we lift up through the crown of the head. These are all things that are so important to our practice. And holding allows us the extra time to focus in on the alignment. And then when we bring this into our practice, it will change our forms. So we're kind of stabilizing through the body, and we're saying this is at least the final position that we want to hit. And then we'll bring it into single movement practice. So I want you to inhale and drop the right arm and reach out with the left. Then we exhale and we go back into that position. We inhale and shift back. We exhale and we go up and down. Now notice, are you going into the same position that we had held? So is the final posture now the same that you had honed in on, that you had refined? So a couple more. Always going over that center of the forearm. And as we do this, can you feel the legs? So pushing forward and then pushing back. Let's do one more. Okay, release the arms. Now we're going to move back. So we kind of burned the front leg because our bow stance has 60% in the front and 40% in the back. Now remember, the final position of roll back is in the back leg. So this is a little bit harder to hold because we have 70% in the back, but we still have the same requirements. So we're not going to hold this as long, but this is a great way to build strength. So right now, are your knees in line by having your hips open or crotch rounded enough so not here, here? This is the difference of weight being on the arch of your feet or weight being centered in your footwork. And this is a big deal. Now, same thing. Don't stick out the bottom. Drop your tailbone, but don't go the other direction, right? So like just enough that you can use your lower back muscles. You engage through your lower abs slightly, okay? And our torso's open towards that corner direction. Now for roll back, that left arm is armpit open, palm to the sky. And the right arm is pointing to the corner direction. And we're looking, and we're gonna hold. So now, head lifting up, shoulders relax down, chest sinking in and back rounded. So not here, here. Can you use just enough energy to keep your arms up? So right now, your left leg is probably burning. I know, because I can feel mine too. Okay, but this is how we build more strength. We're just holding for a moment. We're almost there, and then we're gonna release because we're gonna do this single movement practice, okay? So we're gonna take 2 more breaths. Feel that leg a little bit. You might be building up a little bit of internal body heat, okay? And release. Release the arms, move forward. Okay, we're gonna stretch out the legs here in a moment, don't worry, okay? So now for roll back, we're just gonna go from corner to corner, and then we're gonna link them all together at the end. So we'll start from our corner direction. I wanna start here because I want you to become aware of this position. A lot of times we over rotate, Remember, you're in the center of your own square box. So it's not your room that you're paying attention to. You're imagining that you're in a square and your torso is straight and this is to the corner of 45 degrees. Now, when we shift back, take a big inhale, exhale, and we go to the other corner. Inhale, reset. Just turn back, move forward. Exhale, shift. Now I know you know the arms, it's just a little up and down. The arms are really easy. I want you to see, can you push with your legs? So we're push and support. So what does that mean? We're not just floating and barely using the legs. We have intention, or we're building tension by pushing and using our leg muscles. 2 more. Back on your inhale, exhale. Okay, check your final position. Did you end up where we kept trying to, where we were holding? Let's do one more. And back. Nice. Okay, now let's go the other way. We're almost there. Okay, this is our big push for our legs. We'll stretch out here in a moment, okay? So now for press. Same requirements as ward off right. Elbow and knee in line, right? But this time palm is touching. The big thing here is making sure we have that palm diagonal. So we're not straight and we're not out to the side. When our palm's diagonal, our armpits open and we can actually use the whole surface of our palm to touch. So now check. We're going to hold again for a few breaths. Feel your legs. So do you have to look down to check? Are you both in your knees in line with the toe direction? Where's the weight in your right foot? Is it centered? Like, is it Velcroed, suction cupped, or, magnetized to the ground? So you can't lift your heel. You can't lift your toes. You're like really stuck to the ground. You've sunk into your legs so you feel nice and heavy. You relax through the upper body. So let your shoulders and elbows sink down a little bit more. Okay, we're using just enough energy to keep the arms up. And we lift through the crown of the head as we drop our tailbone so we get length through each vertebrae. We're using all the muscles. They say relax, but relax is just opening up each joint a little bit. So it's not quite what we usually think of as relax. So now let's inhale and come back. Exhale, and we're going to push out. So remember, press is just about coming down, relaxing in, and then we're expanding up and out together. So it's just simply coming in and back, knees in line still, exhale and push, expand out. Now the thing about each single movement practice is, can we make it so everything arrives together? So that means the legs, the arms all time out and stop at the same point. And we inhale back and we exhale and push. And we just keep shifting back and forth. We'll do a few more rounds. Relaxing in on your inhales and pushing on your exhale. One more. When we do one more, I want you to check. Did you hit that still practice with the elbow and knee? Okay, release the arms, toss them down for a moment. We have one more. Push, okay? And push is really that one that we can dig into a little bit more and focus in on our legs because we really know what the meaning of pushing something heavy is. So we bring our arms up for push and we check in first. Did you let your legs collapse? Are your legs starting to feel that burn just a little bit more? So don't lock out that back leg. Remember, it's soft. Hips or tailbone dropped a little bit and palms sitting up. So one of the things to know with push is our torso is straight, right? But when we do this, be careful that your hips don't go straight too. So this movement comes from where? It comes from the torso, right? So the torso can turn without the hips turning with it. So palms come up, and remember our palms are our basketball, right? There's a basketball or a beach ball or whatever. So we have this rounded feeling because if we're flat, we're causing tension. So we want to relax and let everything hang down and have a nice bend. Final position is the wrists are shoulder height, okay? And we're leaning in every pose, we're leaning into it, right? We have that little bit of lean, especially in our push. Be aware, not vertical, leaning into it. Okay, take a few more breaths here. Try to relax your arms. So let your shoulders soften. Take deep belly breaths, just like when you had your hands, one on the chest and one on the belly. Breathe all the way down through the belly. Soften as much as you can. Let energy go to the center of your body. We're honing in, we're pushing ourselves here to bring this into our form practice. Now we're going to inhale and we're going to come back. Shift back. Sit up your palms. Exhale, we're going to push. So really being aware, inhale back. Really use your legs, expand and push out. So we come back and we push. And do a few more, following your own breath. Imagine you're pushing something heavy. How can you build that tension in your legs? As if you were pushing something heavy. So we have to push into the ground. And we're pushing forward, but we're also pushing back with our front leg. This is how we build that tension, and we make sure that everything arrives together. 2 more. Last one. Check final position. Do we have that elbows and shoulders down, waist relaxed? Okay, release. Shake out the arms and legs. We're going to take a quick break, and then we're going to put it all together. So that means we're going to do all of grasping the bird's tail, ward off right, roll back, press, and push. Now your goal is to include everything we just did. So that means, the push and support of the legs, feeling that burn, all the alignment, the principles, head lifting up, shoulders down, chest in, waist relaxed, and most importantly, light and airy through the arms and strong and heavy through the legs. One little tip for you. The more you feel the legs, the heavier you will be through the legs. Once we really feel the legs burning and we feel strong through the legs, we can be lighter through the arms. And once we're lighter through the arms, we're going to feel more relaxed, okay? So if we hold tension through the upper body, energy gets caught here. If we can let go and use just enough, then we can sink the energy down and we'll feel even heavier in our legs. Remember, the stronger your legs are, the better your life will be. So let's take a moment, come into your bow stance. We're going to do all 4 movements: ward off, roll back, press, and push. So legs in line. We're going to start in the back position for our ward off right. So that means the left arm's on top, right arm is underneath, and we're going to exhale and go up and down together. Then we're going to inhale and we're going to rotate. Exhale, roll back. Inhale, touch for press. Exhale, expand out. Inhale, square everything up. Exhale, settle in. Inhale and exhale. So now you're seeing, right? We can't control our breath all the time. So we can do it with single movement practice, but sometimes those movements are a little bit longer than the others. So we're going to do it a few more times. I want you to notice, how do your legs feel? Can you feel the burn? You know the arm movements already. So see if you can focus in on having this roundedness in your legs to then let tension go in the upper body, okay? So left arm on top, right arm underneath. Take a big inhale. Exhaling up and down, go together. Then we rotate both arms and they go to the corner. And we shift back and we turn from the waist for roll back. We find a little circle and we touch the forearm. Then we expand out for press. We square up from the waist, leave the hips open. We come back, armpits open, sit up the palms, but keep it relaxed, and then push. Let's do it again. Shifting back. Left arm on top, right arm underneath. So up and down go together. Rotate. Keep that space between the arms. Shift back. Little up and down together. Now touch for press and expand out. Square everything up. Remember, when we come back for push, make sure your palms are sitting forward, not facing down. Then push. Nice. Okay, shake out the legs. And so grab onto a wall, grab your foot, your shoe, your pant leg. I want you to stretch out your legs a little bit because it is a really intense practice there. I guarantee you this will build strength quicker than anything else you do. People say, well, what does Tai Chi do for you? I'm like, if you're not getting anything out of your Tai Chi practice, I'm worried. Because if nothing else, your legs should be getting massive. For women, your pants might not start fitting you in a few months if you keep burning the legs this way. All right, let's switch. Get that other leg. Does it feel okay? Do we enjoy it? Or are we just like, oh my gosh, is it over? All right. I want to know what you thought about still practice versus the forms, okay? I just want to hear your thoughts because remember, Tai Chi is forms. It is still practice. It is single movement practice. It is even seated. This is something we haven't even touched on. Like, we can sit. What does that mean, essentially? It's seated meditation. You know, like we have seated postures, but we do a lot of our forms. We also have our applications. And if anyone's feeling bold one day down the line, we can swing some weapons around too. All right. So there's a lot of fun aspects. You know, I want to remind you that it's not just one-sided. We also have push hands. Okay. So what I want to introduce you to all these different things. So then if you ever get to an in-person class, you feel confident in your knowledge and you can just step right in. Thank you so much for joining me. I hope you enjoyed today's session. Remember, if you found value in this content, hit that like button, subscribe to my channel for more videos just like this, and drop your questions or comments below. I hope you join me for more of this in-depth practice. Maybe you want to visit my website, ladytaichi.com, subscribe to my newsletter so you can be the first to know about all the great new things coming soon, or maybe find me on social media. There's going to be some new shorts coming up, so maybe you want to check those out as well. But again, thank you so much for being here. I hope to see you again soon.